Matija Sedler, General Director TV of Markiza in Slovakia, a country of 5 million people. Tell us a little bit what you do there. Let's start with that, just to establish who's who and what they do there.
So we have 4 TV channels, we have 1 streaming platform, we have websites, we are the biggest TV and media operator, very long print history, 26 years, around 700 people, around 120 million turnover. That's it.
And the VOD channel, Voyo, is the one that CEE runs in different countries, right?
Yes, we have Voyo in all our countries in different phases of development and quality. So we will talk later about it.
We'll talk definitely later about that, what's different about that. Okay, Daniel Brun, CEO of TV Nova, Czech Republic, 10 million people. There are no microphones, so you can all keep your microphone.
Oh. Yeah.
Go ahead, tell us what you do there. What do you do with TV Nova? How many channels?
Okay, TV Nova is the biggest TV house in Czech Republic. It's a commercial TV as it is, having like 6 free TV channels plus 4 paid channels. The last part 1 to 4. Plus we are working with we are building the local biggest SVOD service in Voyo, which is actually the second on the market after Netflix.
And you used to run, you were the digital officer for CME, developing Voyo streaming platform in the region, right? So you have experience of the different phases of setting up a new platform, when you should do it and when not, and what you need to do.
Yes, actually, I'm still sitting at the Chief Digital Officer at CME position. So yeah, we are seeing this. For example, as with Matthias, we are working very closely together. So Czech and Slovakia, we can say we announced like a few months when we have over 500,000 paid subscribers. Then in Slovenia, for example, we are number 1 on the market, even before Netflix. In Romania, we started spend into marketing and content last year, so we grew like 3 times over last year together. And let's say in Bulgaria, we are planning to relaunch very soon.
Okay, Bulgaria is here. Ralph Bartolite, you are the CEO of BTV Bulgaria. Previously, we were proceeding with that. What does BTV do in Bulgaria? 7 million people. Go ahead.
Similar to my colleagues, so it's a duopoly in Bulgaria, so it's us, BTV, and our competitor Nova. Somehow head to head, we have 6 TV channels, 5 radio stations, and Voyo, as Dan said, on a smaller level at this point, but also a very good AVOD platform, a lot of digital. So we launched also some new digital platforms, a business platform, a sports platform for content. So yeah, as we discussed before a little bit, so we have to work on both angles, so the classical core business of TV and how to improve and make grow the digital business.
Okay, and then we move back to Czech Republic, the only non-CME person here, right? Who has no doubt worked at CME, right?
Ex-CME.
The family. It's true. I mean, it is a small world. So go ahead.
Yes, I used to be with CME, so it's almost 1 week. But TV Prima is biggest commercial broadcaster. But we run free-to-air channels. We don't have a pay TV channels. And 3 months ago, we introduced a new VOD platform called Prima Plus.
Okay, and we'll talk about because you have another model than some of your colleagues here. Now, from a personal point of view, but from a point of view of how the media industry in Europe is organized, it is quite an achievement to beat Netflix in any market, or to beat international streamers in any market, and to build up a strong enough local model that you can also stay in that market. A lot of markets, of course, the streaming service or the video on demand service is completely wiped away by the Americans. So go Central and Eastern Europe, because there you have more of a chance, I think, than some of the other Western countries. What about your model? You started late in the Czech Republic. What is the model you've chosen to go
Well, we combine the pure advertising with, well, we have three tiers basically. One is free, ad-supported for the catch-up content and the archive series of, from all channels. And we have a combination of subscription and ad-supported tier, which is cheaper, and pure SVOD subscription, which is without ads and all the premium content. We have no content differences in the offering, so what the customers get in the ad-supported subscription tier or in the both paid tiers is the same. So we are giving.
If you pay, you don't get ads. If you do pay, you get ads.
Yes, it depends on the customers how much money they want to give us. If they are not willing to pay for to watch all the content without ads, they can still get access to all the content, premium originals with ad-supported model.
So, you also have a model where you do pay something but still get ads, or no?
Yes.
You also,
Yes.
Okay, so you have all models basically. Yeah. Here, for Voyo, it's more of a subscription model, right? No ads, subscription.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pure SVOD service, having only one tier, so we are keeping it as clear, as simple as possible to understand. And let's say the core of the strategy is the focus on quality local content.
So, although Voyo is in 6 countries?
Yes, 6 countries. Let's say 5 countries in Croatia, as we acquired last year, RTL Croatia. We are launching Voyo this fall.
Okay, and how much of the offering in Voyo across these regions is the same offering and how much of it is local?
Yeah, basically it's quite differentiated. Where we are close is Czech and Slovakia, because let's say we can share the titles, let's say, in the local language because they understand each other. So Czech and Slovakia, basically, for example, the Voyo originals we are using in both countries. We are acquiring the library together. We are using, as we are focusing on local content, so we are also acquiring, let's say, the best Czech and Slovak movies, for example, and series, and we are sharing between the countries. So yeah, in Czech and Slovakia it's very close, except for
Well, the Dutch and the Flemish are very close, understand each other, and absolutely don't watch each other's television shows. I mean, it's...
And here it's nearer.
Yeah, it's a bit nearer.
But it's of course local driven, but I think we must also talk about the windowing, because Voyo, we put 7 days or 1 day in advance without advertising. Then you have all the social media stuff. For example, our YouTube channel has 1.3 million followers, so we invest also in that. Then you have the classic TV, then you have 7 days on our website, advertising funded, and then it goes back to the deep archive on Voyo again. So the job is very much more complex than it used to be 10 years ago, because you really have to fine tune, how you support Voyo, how you support social media, how you support your websites, how you still keep the track on a classic live TV. So we are still experimenting and learning how we bring the things together.
So the subscription model seems simple to the user. It's just one subscription you buy, ads in the program. But can you tell a little bit more about this windowing on the open internet? How do you use? Do you release whole shows there, or do you just use?
Yes, we have the full episodes on our websites in both countries, but also on the websites of the operators. And the currency is the first 3 days are measured and part of the delivery of the advertising. But 7 days is for free, and then it goes back to Voyo. So it starts with Voyo and ends with Voyo, but Voyo is different brand than the local TVs.
Yeah, basically, let's say, put it like this, the first window, SVOD, so the paid one, is for advanced streaming, as Matthias said, 7 days advance in local produced content and some acquisition, plus the Voyo originals, which we are, let's say, putting to Voyo exclusively. It's not going to TV. And then there's a classical linear TV, and as Matthias said, the AVOD, we are keeping like 14 days
to the party. So we have the smallest still, Voyo, and operating on an old tech. So we are now in discussion here with colleagues from Prague how to relaunch it. But if talking about windowing, because I was also for 2 years head of the biggest streaming platform in Germany at that time, Nextv, and the windowing and the preview of assets of shows was even more important as a driver for subs than exclusive content. So I think this is very important, and this will be also a challenge for a market like Bulgaria because of scale, because we don't have perhaps that much content on all those channels to be still profitable, and then you have to decide. So perhaps I will also go for a more hybrid model, but we're still working. I would be interested for Prima here if you say, so as a consumer you can choose. I don't know if you're communicating total numbers, perhaps you don't communicate, but from the percentage, how many would choose the subs model and how many would choose for ad model? It's, I don't know, only 30% going for pay, or I don't know if you can communicate or give some indication. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Well, I cannot definitely enclose any numbers as we see them after 3 months. But as a catch-up service, we have 500,000 active users on a monthly basis. So the customers are coming to regularly on a monthly basis to consume the catch-up content, and we already convinced by the proposition to migrate over 12% to paid tiers within the.
Okay, so you tend to start for free, and then after a while say, okay, these ads, let me pay a bit more, and I don't need the ads.
Yes, well,
it's super annoying to make.
Sorry.
You make the ads super annoying to do.
We
strategy, right?
We still love ads because they pay the bill.
Before we kind of decide how the proposition will be kind of different, we also test a different break patterns. So in the AVOD model, we have classical, full ad load, pre-roll, mid-rolls, post-rolls, but for the subscription tier with the ads, we have a different break pattern, which we kind of find out is for the users less annoying.
People don't mind ads, they mind where they are in the program. That's okay. And it's not like people sign up and then after a while think, okay, I'll go back to a cheaper model. That can happen as well, right? Now you go for free to subscription.
Well, the service is kind of SWOT-centric. So we understand that having a 3 tiers proposition within one UI for the customers would be difficult to be offering, one tariff and a second tariff on different shows, movies. So everything is more like naturally organic, goes to the upsell, watch content without ads, etc. But we see now after 3 months a different habits and different appetites of the customers choosing the cheaper tariff with the ads. So they consume twice as much as the free users, but they also have a different appetite for the content. So they go more rather for the exclusive content, but they also watch the archived series because the 50% less of the ads is less interrupting, and they can binge watch the whole series.
Yeah.
So we have the same the Voyo users watching more TV than the normal users, so they're really addicted to television.
And interestingly enough, about the old series, the most watched series still on Join, the new ProSieben product, is still Anna in Love from 1998. So there are a lot of addicted people watching that old stuff again and again.
I mean, my children, they are 16 and 19, they've seen all of Friends 3 times. Friends, it's 100 years ago.
And for Netflix was mine.
Netflix, that was
another way.
Exactly. And then
You need this addicted content to catch the people and to make them stay.
But it also means that people that have a library with content that is in the hearts of people and stays there for many years, they have a huge advantage. And that has to be.
I think there's a difference about content which makes you sign in, so we track this, what watching the people first when they buy the platform, and there's content why the people stay on your platform. It's not the same, because it can be that someone buys for football, but then the kids find out, they get the daily soap one day in advance, and the kids make the parents to stay in the platform. So it's not the same. We need signature content like the originals to bring the people in, but you need also the library or the long-running content to stay with us.
And the interesting thing is, I think very often it's not the biggest challenge to bring the people in, but to make them stay. At Nextv, we were exchanging the viewership every year, so we are losing 300,000 and winning 300,000 to really make them stay and not cancel after months and come back in 3 months. This is the biggest challenge for the product.
Actually, this challenge is, let's say, the crucial for, let's say, the profitability and lifetime of the service. So, for example, the crucial metrics we are measuring every week is time spent on the account, at the account of Voyo. So, for example, Voyo now in the high season have like 14 hours a week in average for a user. So basically, every account or user spends 2 hours a day with Voyo, which is very good.
I also think that people, I mean, it sounds very transactional, you know, you buy into a film ticket and you get certain movies, whatever, but it's much more emotional decision, so you can also buy, because it has educational content that you think you should show to the children and you never watch it, but you still buy it. Things like that. As for the content, let's move to the content, because we talked before, over the last 2 days, a lot of people have said, yes, we need local content in local languages, and it's important, and we need a lot of content, there's never too much content, to actually find people in small markets that can make very compelling content that people come back for and stay for, is a challenge. I mean, it's, how do you do that? Where do you find them? And let's talk about the Content Academy, because if they're not there, you have to build it up, right?
What else would you like to speak
Yeah,
There was never so much television in classic TV. All the Slovak and Czech channels produce like hell, and they have now the streaming production, top movie production. So, and the question is, where are the writers, where are the producers, where are the actors who make all this happen? And every market has talent problems, and the smaller ones even more. So we have the CEE Content Academy in Brno, where Nova and Marquise work with the Film Institute there. We have internship programs, student programs, volunteer programs, so we must educate our staff. Just one example, we have a daily soap opera, Mom for Rent, 180 episodes. It's team writing, you have 20 dialogue writers and 7 storyliners. You know, all these writers, they must work, and it's a lot of work to make 180 episodes, and it's just 1 hour time slot of our television. So the demand is here, and the talents are not here, and we must create them and motivate them for the different external producers, but also internally.
Yeah, and I would, for example, this interesting starting Voyo like 2 years back helped us extremely to attract new and extremely quality people from the creative market. As we decided to go with Voyo Originals, which basically as the production value is much higher than, for example, the main TV channels at prime time. So let's say we are really focusing on the quality. So this opens us the possibility to attract the people who want to, let's say, work with TV before that. So now, for example, we have like a team of 14 creative producers working together on, I don't know, 50 projects in different stages of development and production. So we boosted, let's say, the production and the Voyo was, let's say, the Trojan horse to, let's say, attract the new and very good creative people to TV now.
There's also, I mean, it has nothing to do with Central and Eastern Europe, it's a Dutch company, Newbie TV, where they started out making videos for online, for YouTube and so on. And then, but they've really developed, and what they do is basically they develop scripts and then just in every market pick the people that are most followed on social media, who are usually not fantastic actors, but they can be in front of a camera and they love the camera. And and then they put them in series, and that's how they get, movie series. And the guy decided, he basically wrote a script of the series he saw himself when he was a kid, and now he's repeating it in all the markets, and it was the biggest on Netflix. It's really strange. So use social media not just for existing material, but to pick out the talent that you have to put somewhere. Questions from the audience before I do all the questions. Don't be shy. How many people here actually work themselves in Central and Eastern Europe and have their business there? Can I have a show of hands? So we'll also see who's still listening. Yes. Oh, quite a few actually. So you know these markets yourself as well quite well, right? No questions about it.
Let me maybe add another complexity. What we have, one example, we have Let's Dance, the classic BBC show, but it's not about making the production. So we made some media day where we produced our material, and we had 12 stages. So we rented a big hall, and then you have one studio for TikTok, one for Instagram, one for classic photos, one for modern photos, one for shooting the opener, one for shooting the trailer, one for making interviews for the website. So 12 stages where all the couples and dancers had to go through to produce the material for the advertising of a show. For such a small market, okay, we don't do it for every format. But you see, even here, the promotion and marketing part is much more complex, and you must work completely different to make something sexy for TikTok and to make some photo for some monthly high-value magazine and so on. So also here we work much more sophisticated, much more complex, and even we hire some influencer, and each influencer must support one of the dancing couples, and his contract or her contract goes as long the couple is in the show. So when the couple stays in, he has also a longer contract with us, and also this helps. So some people don't have TV anymore, but they see on social media that this show is sexy, and then they come back again.
Yeah. And that's all still in the run-up to a show. I find it on the social media side of things, where people talk about shows. I mean, there's a whole new genre of, first you watch the show, and then you go to the podcast where they discuss the show, or the talk show where they keep talking about the show. So it's the before and after is really big on social media. Yeah.
But for me, the interesting on top, so we were talking now a lot about the new things, and I was also at Trosima, I was head of digital and so on. We were talking now a lot of digital, but also what Matthias said, the core business is still 80% of revenue, and even more important very often for EBITDA. So, and the interesting thing, for example, in Bulgaria, the TV usage daily, it's 3.1 hour or so in average, 18 to 54. But for us, good, it decreases by 3, 4, 5, so one digit, not two digit like in other markets. At the same time, we are now in a market of not even 7 million people. We have 3 million unique users on our internet products. So this also shows again that we have to manage both processes to keep the core, the old, alive, and perhaps make it even more profitable to have enough to fuel the new one, right?
Yeah, and that does mean that people fill more hours of their day with content, right? They start watching on training while they're waiting.
And for us, the lowest increase was 4% is in 25 to 34. I did not expect, but the lowest decrease, and also the TV usage is still on a level now, again, higher than it was pre-COVID. So interesting. So TV, I think in Eastern Europe, I know the numbers also for Western Europe, it's still quite okay, right?
Yeah, there's decreasing when you go 2 digits per year almost. So is it for all the countries?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty much the same. I would say the decline in TV is like in single digits, like 5% a year. And as Ralph said, it's very comparable to the pre-COVID time. So let's say for Czech, they are probably 3.5 hours a day, which is still very strong. And what is very interesting, I think it's all over the world. It's not as cannibalizing yet, but the people simply extending their passive time with video, let's say, and exchanging for something, let's say, more active.
Even more media users, right?
And if you talk about those, the business that exists already and also what people love already, I'm just really curious, what is the most popular local show or type of different countries? What's the most popular thing in Bulgaria?
So our most popular show is Bachelor. So it's a very typical...
But then the local version or just the general...
Sorry?
The local version or just the...
No, it's a local version.
Oh, okay.
They're doing the local versions. So, and the voice, so very classical, but we all in CEE somehow, before doing a very specific show, we always watch at the most successful shows in Europe. So therefore voice is our most successful, then Bachelor, so a lot of those classical
it's
shows.
probably too early to say what's the most popular from the archive before, from the library of Bulgarian content.
As I said, our VOO product is still not that strong, you know.
What about
In Slovakia, we have one daily soap, which is a local version of a Turkish soap opera, and one soap twice a week, Dunaj, about the first department store in Bratislava. So it's more so telenovela driven. These are the, let's say, strongest formats and big shows like Let's Dance or Superstar.
And from the archives, I mean, is there something from way back that people still watch?
No, the very old program is not so much, but in the archive, so in VOO, Bachelor is #1 format. It does not work in TV, but it works in VOO, Bachelor, Survivor, Love Island, the reality formats, and Turkish soap operas is very strong content in streaming, for example. But the deep archive is not so much.
And dubs probably, right? It's in local language or in Turkish?
Everything is done.
Yeah, everything is dubbed. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I would say from that, so Czech is also everything is not. Definitely, it's necessary, let's say, to succeed. Looking TV content, every single day, the most watched content is local production. Whatever is TV, if there is public TV, Prima or Nova, so every day is winning by local production. And the most watched program is the evening news, televizní noviny at TV Nova. That's basically the most watched program a day. And then, let's say, basically, for example, Light Crime is working very well. The long-running shows, classic ones. So this is, let's say, what's working very well. As Matthias said, for TV Nova is very similar as for Markiza. We are very strong in R&E. So let's say, for example, for now, Speed the Chaser is working very well for Saturdays, for example.
As I'm coming from journalism originally, what was for me really surprising, and I see it's the same in Czech and in Bulgaria, so really our main news are still making 30% market share, right? And it's 1 hour show, and we have four times news a day, so the news consumption in these countries is still very high.
And the people really watch it at 8 o'clock. I mean, they really watch it.
Yeah, for 1 hour. 7, we are 7.
Yeah, I think your population
But news usage is very high.
But we are not sure if it is because of the high quality of politics.
Always something new. Do you have something else that's very popular in your offering that hasn't been mentioned yet?
No, I think Daniel just summarized it all. It's a long-running local production series which dominates the prime time and premiere series on the prime time Sunday or Saturday evenings.
Now, when we talk about these international streamers that are also in all of your markets and all of our markets, in the West, East, Middle, in Europe, if everything in Central and Eastern Europe is dubbed, that makes it to a degree better for your companies who are very much grounded in the local culture. Or, I mean, some of the international companies are also going for the local languages, right? They buy or dub the shows.
In Bulgaria, not so HBO, yes, therefore they are strong with their streaming products, so they have a lot of dubbed and original content. But for example, Netflix, Amazon do not. So they are doing okay, but Netflix even had to lower the price from, I don't know, €8 to 5 in Bulgaria because they don't have local content. So the really only one besides the local players is HBO really investing in dubbing and Bulgarian content.
Just as a fun fact, I was previously with Vodafone and we were having extensive discussions with Netflix, which where we were agreeing on the cooperation with Netflix a year ahead based on their announcement when they will start local
guess it's different. I mean, in the Netherlands we're used to material not being dubbed. We're used to original content and subtitles, and we have rages for Korean series, Spanish series. And I find it really interesting that when these whole streaming services started, the assumption was, oh, everyone can watch on their own time, and so the landscape will be much more diversified. It's actually the other way around. I mean, if a series comes out, everybody watches it, binges it, tries to catch up as soon as they can to talk to other people as well. So, and it's easier because you don't have to wait till the next thing comes online. So it's an opposite effect than what you would expect if you do have everything on demand. That everybody talks about Stranger Things in the same week and discusses the topics and etc. etc.
I think the dubbing protects us and gave us more time to develop our services, but artificial intelligence will solve it, and also dubbings will be made by computers and not by actors, at least for the smaller countries. It can be, and it happens. So we have a bit more time, and also our classic TV stations have still a very strong position in the market, stronger than in Germany or France or UK. It gives us more time, but nevertheless we are in competition with Netflix, Amazon, Showtime, and whoever is coming. So it does. We must make our job best as possible. We must focus on the local production. We just got a little bit more time, which is good, but we must go full speed. Otherwise, we will not survive.
And this part this is the speed. And I just watched the program of the Cannes Film Festival to see what's in there about AI. And you have Respeecher, you have Flawless, all these companies that automatically can change video and add the different language, and it looks perfect. It really looks perfect. They're there now. I mean, this is within a year. This will change, I think.
Yeah, in years definitely. But also already here, for example, Czech Republic, the 10 million people country. For example, Disney and HBO done everything. Netflix pretty much everything already. Every new releases are already in Czech. Okay. So they are spending quite a lot of money, even for 10 million people country. Yeah. So let's say they see the need. And for example, once Netflix buys some of the new Czech movies, it's definitely in the top 3 of which content there. So everybody, even from the multinational players, feel and see the need, the must have the Czech content.
Yeah, there's also this new European regulation where a certain percentage of the offering of international streamers has to be locally produced, and in a way this is actually not necessarily beneficial for the local industry. It can also be harmful for the local industry because now, Okay, we have a few more minutes if there's no question. Oh, there is a question. Go ahead. Oh, 2 questions. What did I do? Let me see. Oh yeah, there's my
Yes, first of all, a few information because we are following what's happening in Czech Republic. Just wanted to say, because you were asking what were the most performing programs in your respective countries. And for Czech Republic, for example, for Nova, Super Love was an extremely successful launch last March. And for Prima, it was Poslední oběd, The Last Victim, was also an extremely great launch. And the thing is, it was also a good launch on the young adult talent. So you manage also to make higher performances for these time slots on the younger audience. So the question was...
productions, right?
On the young adults, yeah. So the question was, sorry, just for Nova and Prima, looking at this, when you see a high performance for young adults on linear television, what is the effect then on your programming for digital? How do you stick to that and say, okay, this is the thing, because you see digital just the way to attract younger audience?
Yeah, one of the biggest drivers for Voyo is definitely 7 days advance streaming. The second driver is result ads. So definitely what is working very well in TV is working extremely well on Voyo. Yeah, for sure there are differences between the genres. We can see that in the future we should program the linear and SVOD together, let's say, to use the potential and have the combined reach of both distribution channels as big as possible. So yes, we are analyzing what's working well, but the core, the most
cloud streaming.
And there was a question in the back there as well. Yes, please.
Just to add, we have one series, one professor, a local version of a German series, and we invested a lot. You know, the school is anyway a younger topic, but we hired, for example, some video platform of young filmmakers, and they were making photo shooting and promos for us or everyone below 25. So we work with social medias, with film production, especially on certain formats. You know, not everything ourselves, but also take creativity from outside to keep ourselves fresh.
Please.
Lubos Menicka, company 3SS. And I would like to ask you, in Czech Republic we have a multiple OTT services which is allowed to watch the free-to-air channels with a time shift. And based on the request for TV Prima, there was implemented the feature that you cannot skip the advertising or you have to pay extra for that skipping. I would like to ask you if you can share some data or information about the success of that features. And my second question would be to CME if they are planning to implement something similar.
Okay, so the pay is basically pay for easier interface, right? I mean, so you can't skip anymore, you can't...
Yeah, if you are using the time shift, so just there is a series of advertisements and you can also skip them.
Well, not within my department and competencies, but what we see is the increasing trend that ad skipping on IPTV platforms was no longer sustainable for us. We are a free-to-air broadcaster. Our inventory is built in GRPs, and if we are losing GRPs, we are ultimately losing money. So the effect is there. I don't have the numbers, so I cannot comment it. Sorry. And I leave it to Daniel if TV Nova is having a similar issue, because I guess you are seeing the same numbers.
Yeah, actually we are seeing definitely that there's a trend at the operators, let's say catch-up side, to skip the ads compared to TV Prima. Currently we don't see the problem in it yet because we are not sold out. We are keeping, let's say, sold out ratio around 75-78%, let's say, to be able to give the best value for the advertisers, because you can see once in the break slots, you have too many ads. Say the people are losing, let's say, attention. So let's say we are strategically keeping the sold out ratio on 78% plus minus. So basically, we are not missing the content there, or let's say the inventory there, but we are monitoring for sure. Let's say we need to monitor the trends, and once we will see that it's harming us, we need to solve it definitely, but it's not for us.
So Slovakia is sold out country since a few years, so the topic is on the table. We are just trying to learn from the dispute Prima had with the operators, and hopefully we can do it a little bit more smoothly, but of course there's a conflict between channel interests, operator interests, consumer interests, so we must find some compromise. But the non-live viewing is increasing, and in some point, at some certain time, we must react to that. But we try to do it with the operators together, so we take a little bit more time to prepare it, and then you might hear about it in half a year or 9 months.
Thank you very much. Well, it is actually 3. You have to wrap up. I have 3 more questions, so that's not possible. We can't do all 3. One thing was an observation that we discussed before as well. You have this good business that's there, which is linear TV, with a team that's there that does things a certain way, and then you have all these new things. That's internally in the company that requires new talent, new expertise, and these people all have to work together. Okay, we're not going to discuss that. And the other thing was, look ahead. What are you looking forward to? That's a good question to end with, a positive one. What are you going to do now that you really think will be the next exciting thing in your markets? What will happen?
Okay. What I see is that we need to build and find the right balance between linear and VOD, different, to still leverage on the strong revenue stream from linear, even let's say in like 5, 7, 8, 10 years could decline. But still, it's so strong for us in the TV business. as Ralph said, 80% and TV only 70%. So let's say use this money and build a future. Let's say which for us, for example, Voyo, and prepare together. Let's say and it's working, for example, for us with the windowing strategy to have the biggest combined yield from each window. I think this is the most important one, and I think till now nobody else have the recipe how to do it. You can see all the big multinational players. They are doing let's say extreme on the right side, on the left side. They invest everything in the SVOD services. Now they are seeing they are losing huge money, so they are going back to the cinema release series. They are focusing more back to let's say the linear TV licenses. So yeah, I believe it will be about the balancing combination of the distribution and monetization of the content.
Perfect summary.
You have the last chance to say something here on this stage.
Well, we have a new baby on board, so 3 months behind us, so we are looking forward to see how the hybrid proposition is going to reflect on the market by the end of the year.
I'm looking forward to the next 4 episodes of our Voyo documentary about Spartak Trnava inside the football club from heaven to hell, inspired by Netflix. And it's really nice production where you come to the massage room, to the sauna, to the doctors, to really inside the football club which celebrates 100 years of history, and we combine it. 2 young filmmakers make the first streaming documentary in Slovakia. It's really a nice project to be part of this innovation, to combine the old sports live tradition with some streaming documentary. This I look forward to be, as Dan said, in both worlds somehow innovative.
Yeah, for us, the main would be how to extend Voyo, how to relaunch it. So, and by that, not forgetting about the core product. So we're still talking a lot about what we are doing on TV.
All right, I wish that you all have very strong companies with lots of European content and you hold the fort against all the international streamers. Thank you so much.